Starting the recording now. So I'll briefly walk you through the agenda, which is we're going to look at a very brief overview of the Community Foundation and the Sunflower Charitable Foundation. We'll give a little bit of background to the Mayo Sustainability Fund. I'll go through the two application strands, which are Project Plus and Collaboration for Sustainability. And then we'll do a section on how to apply using the grants portal, and I'll do a demonstration of the grants portal for you. And you can see how everything works there. And then we have a Q&A. So the Q&A box is open and you can pop your questions in there. We'll just go through a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. The webinar is being recorded, as you know, and it will be uploaded to our website over the next few days, but just myself will be visible, none of the attendees will be visible. If you have any questions, like I said, into the Q&A box. And if we can't get to them all in the time allotted, you can send them afterwards to info@foundation.ie and we'll answer everything then. All the information regarding the criteria, FAQs, applying to the grant round are on our website, communityfoundation.ie, apply for grants, and I'll also go through how you can access them directly from our grants portal. Oops. Sorry. Right, so Community Foundation, and some of you will know us, some of you will be new to us, and you're very welcome. We're a philanthropic hub founded in the year 2000, so we're just coming into our 25th year now, and we're dedicated to our mission of equality for all in thriving communities. And we work by working with our donors. We have a diverse network of donors. We manage more than 100 funds at the moment, and they take all different types. So we have some corporate funds, we have some families, trusts and foundations, and we have some large and small funds. So we deal with all kinds of donors. And what we try to do is connect our generosity and ambition to our partners. So that's you and your colleagues. And to date, we've worked with over 5,000 organisations across the island of Ireland. The organisations we support have amazing ideas and solutions for social and environmental issues of our time. So we connect our donors to those organisations and provide impactful grant making. The Sunflower Charitable Foundation are our partners in the Mayo Sustainability Fund, and we work with them regularly. They're a charitable foundation in their own right, and they have a fund with us that they do some grant making through, and they do some grant making on their own. The Sunflower Charitable Foundation was established in 2021. It's a family fund. It's a family charitable foundation, sorry. And their mission is to support the growth of resilient communities with particular focus on the well-being of children and young people, and they work on environmental sustainability both in Ireland and through their global giving programme. So I'll give you a bit of background on how the Mayo Sustainability Fund came about. So Sunflower Charitable Foundation have a particular interest in place-based giving in Mayo, and Community Foundation have a particular interest in sustainability and place-based giving. So these two things came together really, and in 2023, Sunflower through Community Foundation commissioned Niamh Moore-Cherry, who's a professor of geography in UCD, to carry out a scoping study, and it was called a place-based approach, suitability of Mayo for a place-based sustainability fund. And this fund has come about then off the back of that study. So it's a collaboration with Sunflower and other donors. So Community Foundation has put funds into the sustainability fund, and so have Sunflower, and we hope to have more of our donors come on board as we go on. As I said, it's based on this piece of research, and on the back of that piece of research, we then carried out a community consultation in Castlebar in March, and I know a number of you will have been at that. And from those two pieces, we designed the grant round. It's a pilot fund, so it is an iterative process for us, and you'll see that reflected in the criteria, that some things are not as defined as they might be in other sets of criteria, because we're really feeling our way here, and we're trying to respond as much as we can to the people that we're working with yourselves, and to design a process that works as we go. Place-based giving is really important to the Community Foundation, and in general, the Community Foundation model works on being a place-based model. And sorry, I got lost in my own slides. 1 second now. I'm going to jump into the funds. The Mayo Sustainability Fund aims and objectives in the two strands. So on the left, we have the Project Plus strand, the Project Plus strand will support organisations in a flexible way to deliver sustainability projects. So what we found from the study was that organisations need flexible funding, and what they can't get is flexible funding. So that the constant pressure to put in applications for project funding that doesn't take into account everything else that's important to an organisation for them to be able to deliver on that work was hindering progress. So we've designed the Project Plus programme to address some of those issues. So the aims of the Project Plus programme are to build organisational capacity, create sustainable communities, and improve the environment. And the collaboration for sustainability round, this is answering the need for organisations to collaborate together, which came out very strongly in the study and again in the consultation. So that would support organisations in networking, resource sharing, information sharing, collaboration. So the aims of that are strengthening the sector, improving impact for people and planet through collective action, and knowledge acquisition and sharing. And I'm going to go through each strand in quite a bit of detail now. So this was the identified need for the Project Plus grant programme, and that was access to flexible core and scaling funding that allows organisations to carry out and expand their work. The response to this need is that Project Plus offers funding supports the delivery of sustainability-focused projects and also acknowledges the broader organisational needs. So under the Project Plus programme, you'll be able to apply for anything that you need in order to deliver your programme. So you'll see in the criteria document that there up to 50% of the application budget can be put towards those wraparound pieces that you need in your organisation in order to be able to deliver an impactful project. So that could be things like rent or utility bills, staff training, networking, things that are needed in order for you to really be able to carry out your work. The Project Plus strand, and we'll go more into the eligibility in a second, is designed specifically for organisations that have a core object in their constitution of sustainability. So your constitution has to directly say that your work is around sustainability. Now, we've defined sustainability in this kind of broad way here. You'll see it in the bullet points. If you feel that you work in sustainability and it isn't covered in the bullet points and their explanations in the grant round, you can get in touch with me directly and we can discuss it. So it's very broad. We're hoping to cast a really wide net. We want to see what organisations are out there. We want to see what organisations are doing and what the needs are. So we've deliberately left that definition of sustainability very broad. And we're looking to support small organisations, local initiatives, and also county-wide projects from larger organisations. Sorry, 1 second. So the priorities for the Project Plus strand. Priorities will be given to proposals that incorporate the voice of beneficiaries. So that will be in the design and in the implementation. Projects that clearly articulate the project's impact on Mayo sustainability, and that's that very broad definition of sustainability that we have. Demonstrate how impact will be measured and show clear rationale for either solo or collaborative delivery. So we are accepting projects from either an individual organisation or from groups of organisations. If you're applying as a group, one organisation will be the lead applicant. That's the organisation that will have to put in all their documents, and they will be responsible for the reporting and the spend down grant. But you can work in groups, and just what that bullet point means is if you are working in a group, clearly demonstrating the application why you're doing that and what the benefit of that is. And if you are working on an issue where you work by yourself and it's more effective for you to work by yourself, just clearly show that in the application also. So the funding levels available, we hope that the Sustainability Fund will grow in future years, but at the moment we only have guaranteed funding for 1 year. So what we've said in the application criteria is that you can put in a budget for 2 years, but we cannot guarantee if you're successful that the funding will be available for the second year. If you look at the columns here on the left, you'll see that it's the organisation income from the previous financial year. So this will be the limit. So if your organisation is very small, if you've earned under 10,000 euros in the previous year, you can apply up to 60% of your annual income with a maximum of 6,000. So if your income was 10,000 last year, you could apply for 6,000. And if your income was 5,000 last year, you could apply for 3,000. There's a note here on funding limits by organisational income. If your organisation has a low income, but a strong track record and robust governance, you can contact me directly to discuss applying for a larger grant. And I just wanted to explain that a little bit more, that we know from interacting with the organisation in Mayo that there are a lot of organisations who've been doing a huge amount of extremely professional work on very limited budgets, kind of powered by people power, by volunteer work. And so if you feel that, okay, you only earned €5,000 last year, but that you have the structures and everything in place to deal with the larger grant, you can contact me directly about that. Now, I wouldn't see that being for the majority of people. I would imagine that would be for a small number of people. But if you feel you fall into that bracket, you can contact me directly and we can discuss it. We'll talk a little bit about eligibility. I did mention it before, but it's here in bold just in case. Lead applicant organisations to the Project Plus Start must have sustainability, climate or biodiversity as a core object in your constitution. We'll go back up to the top here. So eligible projects have to align with the fund's goals, and they're very clearly stated in the criteria documents. You must have at least 2 years of financial accounts at this time, because we know there's going to be a lot of interest in the fund and our funds are limited. We are not accepting applications from newer organisations. They have to be organisations that have a track record in Mayo, and you have to be a not-for-profit and based in County Mayo. And again, we're only taking applications at this time for people that have a base of operations in Mayo. It doesn't mean that your headquarters have to be there, but you have to have a record of carrying out projects in Mayo. Perhaps in the future, we'll be able to expand it to organisations working in sustainability in other areas that want to move into Mayo, but at this time, we don't have the capacity for that. And then there's just a list of ineligible applicants and things that we can't fund. So schools, sports clubs, statutory bodies, for-profit organisations or new organisations. If a sports club wanted to apply with a lead applicant, that might be acceptable depending on what the application was for, and you can contact me directly if you have a question around that. Projects that are eligible for the Community Foundation's Biodiversity Fund are not eligible, and you can check that out on our website. There's information about what is eligible there, but it's generally for biodiversity mapping. Religious, political or animal welfare initiatives, projects that are completed. So if your project is already finished, we can fund it. We can fund projects that are in progress and that have a funding gap. Building purchases or construction of any scale, and we know that the study did show that there is a need for capital projects, but we just don't have the funding level at the moment to do that. So for the moment, there's no capital involved in the grant round. And any organisation that has a current application with the charities regulator. So if you are in the process of becoming a charity, you cannot apply for funding through Community Foundation. And if that applies to you, you can contact me directly. We're going to move on now to the Collaboration for Sustainability Fund round. So the identified need was, and this came out very clearly in the community consultation, that people need to connect with each other, and funding is just not available for that sort of on any level. So stronger peer-to-peer learning, meaningful collaboration, deep community engagement, opportunities to share knowledge and to pool resources and build strong, resilient networks. There was very clear discussion at the consultation that everybody has so much to give and to learn from each other, but that the opportunities are just not there to do that. So this response to the need is to support programs and projects to work together strategically and practically. And the first example on the right is a practical example, a shared staff role. So we actually funded a project like this elsewhere, where 3 social enterprises hired an administrative staff member between them. So that would be a practical. And then there's more strategic examples there, and they're just examples. In both criteria, there are examples. They're just given as examples, kind of to get the wheels turning, and we expect that you will have your own ideas far beyond that. So the goal of the Collaboration for Sustainability is to establish long-lasting infrastructure in Mayo that allows people to work in a coordinated fashion on sustainability. Priorities will be proposals that show how they will use networks to deliver sustainability work, that show their role within Mayo's sustainability work, that show how their joint project will benefit the sector, and explain very clearly how they'll measure success. So we want to see the impact, and we want to see how it's measured. The eligibility criteria, I won't go through it all because it's very similar. The main difference for the collaboration strand is that you don't have to be an organisation with sustainability as the main object in your constitution. And that was just to open it up to organisations that might have a track record of working in the area, but it's not in their constitution. There's also no upper application limit on the Collaborate for Sustainability strand. And that was deliberate in a way, in that we want to see what projects people have that need funding. And we know some people have very large and ambitious plans in Mayo, and we want those applications to come in. We want to be able to assess them. We want to be able to share them with their donors. And we hope that through this process, when we have applications in, we can get more donors on board. And if there's very impressive projects, that we'll be able to generate funding for them, but that is not guaranteed. And the way we're going to split the funding across the two strands is 2/3 to the project strand and 1/3 to this collaboration strand. Currently, we have €300,000 in the fund for 2025. We hope to grow that, but we don't have a guarantee of that yet. So eligible projects have to align with the fund. Again, they must take place in County Mayo. And I think more or less everything is the same there in terms of ineligibility for the Project Plus strand. Again, you can't be a new organisation. Statutory bodies can apply as a co-applicant, but not as a lead applicant. So you would need to be partnered with a community involved organisation who would be the lead applicant, and then you could be a co-applicant. I'm going to move on now to the application process itself. So we have a grants portal that's been in operation for about a year now. It's called Smart Simple. That's where we do all of our grants processing. And I'm not going to go into the detail of how to get onto the system. That's available in the documents. And there's a couple of different levels of that. There'll be people on the call who have never been on the system. There will be people on the call who are already on the system and have their documents cleared. So I won't do the detail of how to get on the system. I'll start from the point of you're already on the system, and all of that detail is available in our help guide. And you can read that. And if you have any questions, you can contact either info@foundation.ie or you can contact me directly. So just a reminder there from my colleague Melanie for people to pop questions into the Q&A if you have any questions as I'm going through. And we'll get to them at the end. So when you come onto the portal, and I'll do a demonstration in a moment, but I just wanted to show you a couple of key things on slides first. So you need to update your organisation profile. This is the key place where you put in all the information about your organisation and where you put in all your governance documents. And funding opportunities is where all open funding calls are available. So whatever open calls there are at the moment will be in there. At the moment, I think only the Mayo Fund is open. So that's all you'll see when you go in there. But in the future, other funding calls will be in there. And once you've started your application, it will be here in your to-do section. But I'll go through it in more detail. I just wanted to pull these out on the slide first. That's very tiny. We might just deal with that when we're on the portal because it's too small to see. Once we're on the portal, I'll show you where to access the help guide. This is just a snapshot of it. The application form that we use, the system that we use, it's very streamlined. It has been designed to make things easier for our grantees. One of its limitations is that we can no longer edit questions. So the questions that are here for the Mayo Sustainability Fund are the same that will be used for other funds. So the place where you will find what the answers we are looking for in these questions is in the help guide. It's vitally important that you check the help guide. Melanie has done a really detailed job on showing exactly what the question is and what we expect in terms of each strand. So I'm just going to do an example. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do the 4th box down, which is the question on the form is, please outline how you will successfully engage with the wider community in your project. which if you see that on the form, you might not know exactly what it means, but in the help guide, it says, for the Collaboration for Sustainability Programme, please use this section to explain how you will achieve buy-in from the groups you plan to collaborate with. For the Project Plus programme, please use this section to describe any other community engagement needed. So it's very specific to the 2 grant rounds, and it's really what will help you to put in a really strong application. You might find it very difficult to navigate the form without having the help guide open. I think I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and I'm going to jump onto the portal, and I'll reshare with you shortly. So it's just going to take me a second to get myself organized. Okay, so I'm on the portal here. Melanie, am I okay there? Can you see the portal?
Yep, we can see it.
Great. So I'm on the portal here. This is what a login page for a grantee looks like when you log into the portal. So you'll see if you haven't submitted your documents and they haven't been checked, you'll see this red notice here that shows that you cannot receive grants until your organization profile is complete. So that's the first thing, and that's the most important thing to get done first. So because the way the portal is set up, your organization has a profile and all of your information is contained there. So once you've done this process once, you won't need to do it again. Before, we used to have to take in documents with every grant application. Once you've put them up there, you won't have to do it again, and you'll get an automated message from the system on an annual basis to upload your new accounts, and that will be it. But there is front-loaded work in getting set up on the portal if you aren't already. So like I said, I won't go through the get on instructions, but once you are on, you will need to update your profile if you haven't already. Now, I'm just viewing as someone, so the fields aren't live for me, but when you log in, you'll be able to edit all of these. So you have your tabs across the top here. You put in your basic information, address, name, etc. Then you put in a little more information about the organization, the purpose and impact, who you work with, where you work, what type of projects you do. And then the governance section is where you'll upload all of your documents. Some of these are things that you will have to hand, like your bank account or your memo on arts, your constitution. Others you might not have to hand. There's quite a lot of information that's needed about your board members, for example. So we really encourage you to get on the portal as soon as possible and to get your documents up there as soon as possible. We're a very small team, and we're expecting a large volume of applications, and we can troubleshoot with people. You contact either myself or info@foundation.ie. We will troubleshoot with people, but we just won't have the capacity to troubleshoot with everybody in the closing days of the grant round. So we really encourage you to do this step, the documents part first, and then you will have kind of a clean sweep to concentrate on getting a really good application in. So I'm just going to navigate back to the homepage by clicking on the little icon up here. And then we'll go to funding opportunities. So like I said, at the moment, it's just the Mayo ones that are here, but when you open up, there could be other ones there. So just make sure you're clicking on the right one. So the Project Plus strand is on the top here, and then you can see that the documents are across here. So the documents are the Mayo Sustainability Fund Project Plus criteria, and then the help guide that I already mentioned that goes through question by question what's expected. And then this third one is additional climate funding opportunities. That's kind of adjacent, but I'll just tell you briefly what it is. So that was done as part of the consultation when we went to Mayo and consulted with the community groups. It's just a little mapping of sustainability funding that's available at Mayo in the coming years. It's not an exhaustive list, and it's just there as a tool for you to use. So we just put it there so that you can access it. And then when you're ready to apply, and I should have said, sorry, you can apply for both strands once. So you can apply in the Collaborate strand and you can apply in the Project Plus strand. You click on the button over here, apply now, and you get into the form. Again, my form isn't live because I'm viewing the system as someone else. But this is what the form will look like, and all of these will have space for you to input information. I highly recommend, so this is a cloud-based system and there is a warning at the top about saving your work. If there's any interruption at all to your connection, you lose whatever you haven't saved since your last save. So if the internet blips out for even a second where you are, you lose the work you're doing. So my recommendation would be, when you're writing, especially these longer questions, save after you put in anything at all. But once you get into these detailed questions, write them in a Word document, save them in the Word document, and when you're ready, start to copy them over and save as you copy each one in, because there's nothing worse than losing your work to the void of the internet. And then there's a project budget section. It's so important to put in a really clear budget. We can tell so much from a project from its budget, and if the budget isn't clear, it can be very hard to navigate what is going to happen in the project. So really concentrate on getting a very clear budget into us. That, I think, is it for the portal. I had a tips and advice, and I think I've covered them all. This one sounds like a school teacher answer all parts of the question, but it is valid. Sometimes when you're looking at these application forms, it can feel like you're being asked the same question twice, but that's never really the case. So definitely avoid, sometimes we see in applications where somebody has looked at questions and gone, well, that's just the same question again, and has copied and pasted an answer. And so, for example, if you have give me the project description and what is the need for the project, and somebody has copied the answer from the project description into the need for the project, when the assessors are marking and they're working to a score and a rubric, they won't be able to give any points for the need question if it's not answered. So just take your time with the form. You can shoot me any questions that you have, and just be sure that you're answering the question with that. And I think that's it from me for the moment. Melanie, did we have anything come into the Q&A?
Yeah, we have. Can everybody hear me? Great. So we have a few questions in that I've been answering kind of privately along the way, but I can read them out loud so that everybody gets the benefit. Is that helpful, Ailbhe?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. So one question was for, there was a table on the Project Plus strand showing how much money you can apply for based on your organizational income. And one question was for organizations with income over 300,000, is there a limit? So the question is, if the charity has an income of 500,000 or $1 million or even more than that, are they excluded from eligibility for from the project for the applications?
So the answer is you're not excluded from eligibility. You can apply, but just at the highest grant level we have in that strand is 75,000.
Yeah, and just to reinforce something Ailbhe had said before, which is you can submit one application per strand, and a reminder that there is no upper budget ask for the collaboration for a sustainability strand. So if you're applying through Project Plus, there's an upper amount that you can ask for based on your organizational income. That table is available in the criteria document. For collaboration for sustainability, there is no upper limit to how much you can ask for, although we typically do not fund more than 60% of an organization's income. So if you are applying for that strand and you are planning to put in quite a large budget ask, you might want to just contact us first and just run the idea by us, and we can give you any pointers about what is reasonable. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, the next question is, if applying as a group, do both or all of the organizations have to be a registered charity or just the lead applicant?
So nobody needs to be a registered charity to apply to the fund. You need to be a constituted organisation, so you have to have a constitution. It's normally a memo on arts, but whatever form it takes, you have to have a board of trustees. You have to have a bank account in your own name, well, the name of the organisation. And you have to have been in existence and have some kind of accounts for a minimum of 2 years, but you don't have to be a registered charity. And then the lead organisation has to meet those criteria, and then they can apply with other people.
And if I can add a little bit more detail on that, all lead applicants have to be not-for-profits. They don't have to be registered charities, but you do need to be not-for-profit. The collaboration for sustainability strand included we will accept applications for things like design thinking workshops or other types of projects that you might need to work with a consultant, a for-profit consultant to deliver. So the lead applicant still needs to be a not-for-profit, but your budget ask can include payments to for-profit partners. Okay, and also, again, as Ailbhe said, if you have an application currently active with the Charities Regulator Authority to gain charity status, we cannot fund you. So if you have a currently active application, your application will not be eligible for funding. And then one more question is, will the slides and recording be available after this webinar?
Yes, we'll send them around. And it will be on the website also, but we'll send them to all attendees.
Great. Now, another question is grant aid considered income, as our organization's work is highly volunteer-based with only a small amount of rental income?
Yeah, I think I understand the question as grants that you have received, they are considered income. Consider that income, yeah.
Great. It looks like that's all of the questions that we've gotten now. So we'll just wait a moment to see if anyone else wants to submit a question before we wrap up. And we will include these questions on the webpage as well. I think we can put in a little FAQ section just to make sure that you can read the answers to these questions as well. So if anybody else has a question, please submit it through the Q&A box now.
That could be it then, is it?
I think that's it. No other questions are coming through. If you do have other questions, you can, as Ailbhe said, contact her or, are there similar Community Foundation Ireland funds in other counties?
We don't. This is a pilot fund for us, and that's why it's so exciting. We're really, the whole organisation is excited about it. This is our first time having a full county fund. Then we do have donors that operate funds. So we have a donor that operates a small county fund in a different area. But at the moment, Mayo is going to be a pilot fund for us. And in the future, we would love to have other ones, but at the moment, it's just Mayo.
Do you intend to hold further webinars?
No, I'd say this is it now. So it will be available in the recording, will be on the website, and people can contact us for information, but we won't be having a further webinar.
And again, we do have a small team, but the application period is 6 weeks. So as Ailbhe mentioned, please don't leave your troubleshooting until the very last week, as that may make it more difficult for us to be able to get back to you in a timely manner. But although we have a small team, we are very vigilant about getting back to applicants who have questions. So you can contact Ailbhe or the info@foundation.ie email address. Both email addresses are monitored very regularly. And we have other staff on our team who will be familiar with the criteria. So if Ailbhe is unavailable for some reason, other people will be able to answer your questions. So again, no further webinars, but we are available for help and troubleshooting if you need us.
Great. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate you turning up today, and please do spread the word to people in your network so that we get as many applications as possible. It'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.